Alright, so what do I do with this kind of flake? How do I turn this into an arrowhead? Well, if I study it, I can't preserve the entire length. Nope, because it's got a curve in it. So I gotta remove some of it. Question is, where do I want to remove the length? Well, I'm gonna try to thin this down, but I'm probably gonna remove this side mainly to about right here. Take off about a 1/2 inch, because I think I can preserve a center line in there all the way up to that point. I'm going to take off some of this mass here because I can't have that heavy mass while I'm working on the rest of it. I can't have that heavy mass hanging out. Now, this does not need to be modified in order for it to be a cutting tool. It's extremely sharp as it is, especially in this direction. I can be using it with a bulbous end right there as a cutting blade. I just need to grind this down a little bit so I won't cut myself when I'm using it. Maybe grind down this side so I can put my finger on it. But this edge here is extremely sharp, and I can continue sharpening this edge with little flakes and hold it like this and use it as a slicing tool without any modification. But if I'm in a production mode where I need to make a bunch of points and I need some more flakes, I can use this for a point. Yeah. Alright, I'll try to maximize the length of the final point. Right now it's 3 3/8. This is one of those where you just chip around the edges. Let's say 42. It's less than 4, it's like 3. What's 3 into 42? Yeah, it's like 3 millimeter. 3 into 42 is 14 to 1. Yeah, super thin already. Twice as thin as you need it. 7 to 1 is really good. But this is 14 to 1. So, how do you make an arrowhead that's already 14 to 1? Yeah, very carefully. In fact, you shouldn't even try it. I would recommend don't even try it. But you said, ooh, that's so nice. You said. Yeah. I said it was so nice because it already is pretty much in the final shape, and all I need to do is trim. But I don't recommend it. You can do it, and it looks nice. I don't recommend it because it's gonna be breaking really easily, or it'll break really easily on you if you are not super duper careful. Is there a super duper carefulness that's something that we're not aware of that'll help us make a 14 to 1 ratio point? It won't help you make it, but it'll help you preserve it. I'm not going to show you how to flint knap a 14 to 1 ratio point. Because it's too risky. I showed you how to do a 12 to 1. That's as risky as I want to get on video. That one was luck that I was able to actually get that thin. Normally I'd show you 8 to 1 or something like that as the thinnest that I can go on video. So that's why I don't show how to make ultra thin arrowheads, because I don't do them that often, if any. Sometimes I go for a year, I don't make anything ultra thin. For me, ultra thin is better than 8 to 1. Yeah. You don't need to go any thinner than that for the item to be effective. Even 8 to 1 is pushing it. You only need 6 to 1. Or even better, 5 to 1. It's perfectly adequate. If it's 14-1 like this one, I don't need to run any flakes on the surface at all. On either side, I don't need to run any more thinning flakes whatsoever. Nope. The only time I do is in the thick parts, like right there. But when the part that's already thin, I just need to preserve as much of the length as possible and knock off all the other curved area on this side. And it'll be good. Or just trim around the edges. And trimming around the edges is just boring stuff. It's not boring for new people because they get all excited that they can make an arrowhead. But for someone that can already make arrowheads out of almost anything, not bragging, but you know, you get to the point where, yeah, I can make an arrowhead out of that, alright. And you kind of yawn and go, oh, okay. Been there, done that. It's not really exciting to do that anymore. Yeah, it loses its novelty over time. Yeah. Novelty is a good thing when it comes to motivating yourself to do it. If it's something new and interesting because it is new, it's much easier to do it than if it's just an old hat thing. Yeah, I've done it so many times that pretty much, you know, I can do it blindfolded, I think. You know, you lose a little bit of interest. Not that I can do Flintknapping blindfolded. There's no way. Can't do anything but the most rudimentary stuff blindfolded. Besides, you cut yourself. You won't know exactly where the fingers are. You might hit your fingers or cut yourself more easily if you can't see. I had someone ask, can you do it while you're blindfolded, or at least let us know what you're able to do? Yeah, if I take risks on cutting myself, put myself in danger, I know that's a good thing for clicks. Watch me risk cutting myself. Flintknapping video. Watch me take a risk in getting something in my eye because I can't see it fly up. Or I can't see the potential of something flying up if I hit in a certain way. Watch me risk my safety. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna watch that. Yeah, people will watch it. Do I recommend actually doing it to myself? No. It's stupid. It's stupid for me to risk my eyesight or whatever. For clicks. Also, my self-respect. Do something just for clicks. I've been known to do stuff just for clicks, and I look back and I feel a little bit ashamed, yeah. Yeah. Like what? What did you do? What did you do? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure that out. No, what did you do? What did you do? It's mostly those really thin points that I do on video. Yeah. Well, that kind of solves that problem, doesn't it? Now, it's kind of interesting how it broke. It should not have broken there, but I think it has to do with the amount of mass. But it also could be there's a layer in there. Anyway, that kind of solves that issue. Where now I can use this part. But it's still quite curved. Let's see, it could be that there was a crack on this side. Believe it or not, it does weaken the whole thing. If there's a crack that crept in from this side, it'll weaken the whole thing. So if there's any bending, the crack will open up from here as well as down here, and they'll meet up. I can make 2 arrowheads. Yeah, let me take a snapshot right now before they go away. This one is pretty straight. So this one would be logical choice for making the arrowhead. This one is not as logical because there's not as much of a straight portion. You might say, well, that's not how you do it. I want to see the whole thing. I don't want to see a broken one. Yeah, I know. I want to see how you do the whole thing. Not broken. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes, you know, it was 14-1, you lose them. You don't always preserve them, and I was trying to be as careful as possible. I was trying to be as careful as possible. All right? Sometimes just can't do it. That's why you want to see it done, because you just want to know, can it be done or not? It probably can be done, yes. Just not this time. Unfortunately, I don't have like 6 of these that are the same exact dimensions. Maybe someday we'll be able to 3D print the Obsidian or something, these exact flake type things out of glass with a 3D printer of some sort that shapes glass. I don't know. Until then, we only have one chance to do it. I know it's a bummer. It's a bummer. It is a bummer. I don't like it either. Because I couldn't show you. I would rather show you how it can be done, and it is possible, because it is possible. It's just very difficult to set yourself up for the bad luck. In fact, in this case, it was not possible to set myself up for what could happen in bad luck, because the thing that could happen that's bad luck is it would break in half. I can't set myself up for it. What do I do in that case to complete it? There's nothing you can do to complete it, because you only get one shot at it. Anyway, just do it. Shut up and just do it. Yeah. Okay. I will just shut up and do it. How do you make it out of such a thin piece? You break it in half and make 2. Yeah. That's how you do it. That's not how you do it, because I want to see the whole thing. The length, the whole length. I want to make a long 14-1 point. I want you to do it. Yeah, I know. Just try it on your own and see. But it's probably why it was asked, because the person tried it on their own 87 times and has never done it. But they've done the break in half and make 2 points thing. Yeah. But even so, it's still probably 7-1, which is more than I recommend. I recommend a 5-1 ratio. After a 5-1 ratio with the thickness ratio, it gets risky. I don't recommend taking high risks. I can show you how I do it. It doesn't mean that I recommend it. It just means that I'm trying to show you how it can be done. When I do it, it's not because I recommend it. It's because I'm trying to show you how it can be done. Okay, let's get that clear because sometimes that's not clear. And when I do my beginner series videos to teach beginners, I'm not going to recommend going thinner than 5-1. I want you to keep track of the thickness. If you're getting thinner than that, you should expect it to break and say, okay, it did break. So now I know the limits because that's important. I won't go as thin again if I want to be successful. I'll venture past 5-1 when I get really good. Yeah. That sort of thing. That's what I would like to see. But when I was learning flint knapping, there was no such thing as people telling me to keep it thick. No, they were saying, go for it, dude. Go as thin as you possibly can. And look at all the other nappers that are showing off, getting real thin points. You gotta do that. Yep, that's what you gotta do. That's what you're shooting for. Yep. Okay, I'll do it. Misery upon misery upon misery. How do I know there's so much misery out there? I don't know. Maybe because I went through it? Maybe. It was not good advice to go as thin as possible. It's good to know the limits of the material, but it's not good to try to do stuff that's outside of your capability right off the bat. You can do stuff that's outside your capability, but get some experience first. That way, you're not wasting all your initial material. I've known guys that go through hundreds of dollars worth of stuff for no good reason in the beginning because they're trying too hard to do something they can't do. What is the ratio on this one? This one's like 5-1 probably. What is the ratio on this one? Let's say 32. Width by 3. Still 3. Yeah, 10-1. It's still really thin. Yeah. So I could either make two arrowheads like this, or make one that's a little bit bigger but curved. See, I think I can take the curve out completely with that size. I think. If I stay on this side, line up the points, so I take off some of the bottom of this one and this whole side here, I think I can take the curve out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reduce this one down to that size in a strategic way. Yeah. I need to take this square edge off first though. Why do I need to take it off first? What tells me that I need to do that first? Experience tells me that if I do that last, I'm liable to snap it in half again. Because we're still really thin. We're thin enough to break it in half easily. It's 10 to 1. That's thinner than what you can get normally. Much thinner. It's not necessary to be that thin. Anyways, it's still nice to work with because if you're not fussy about the size of the arrowheads, it does save you some time to already be thin and to have a nice smooth surface on your final product. That's why I said, ooh, that's nice. There we go. That's not good at all, is it? I mean, it solves the problem of being curved. Solve the problem of being curved, and on top of that, the bonus is you get 2 points. Yeah, yeah. It's not a bonus because it's stupid. Little short points are stupid. Yeah, most people think that way. This is a domed pad and everything. I tried to come up with the best initial conditions and it still snapped. Somebody might ask, well then, how do you make a longest point with that kind of thinness? The answer is you have to practice working things of that thinness. Not just one, not two. I should do a whole series on videos, or a whole series of videos, where I do nothing but make points out of extremely thin flakes, because it requires a different mindset than the mindsets that I've been talking about up to this point. It's a whole other mindset when dealing with very thin flakes. Yeah. So there's a different mindset for large bifaces and large blades compared to small bifaces and small blades. Different mindset for parallel flaking compared to random flaking. There's a different mindset for large bold flakes compared to small, large bold center crossing flakes compared to medium size mid reaching flakes. It's a different mentality to do a bold past the center flake that's wide and flat than it is to do a flake to center with a shorter flake, either narrow or wide, as examples. And there's another mindset when dealing with very thin flakes. And I have dealt with very thin flakes to do some reproductions of real artifacts that are done on very thin flakes. Yeah, there are real artifacts done on extremely thin flakes. 10 to 1, 14 to 1. Yeah. But it's a different mindset. I would have to probably make a series of videos. And by video number 8, you'll be like, oh, this series is so boring. Let's move on. Just like my productivity series video. I get less and less views, with each video. Because it gets boring. But that's the way it will probably have to be if I wanted to show you exactly what the potential is and how it's done. It's going to look just the same as this one, except it wouldn't be breaking because I would have more experience in knowing, oh, if I hit it there that hard, it probably will break. So let's do something else. Let's, for instance, use some pressure flaking just to trim instead of trying to do, large flakes across the piece like I was trying to do. Let's just do pressure only. Let's just break off that thick part first, because we're not even doing any percussion, as examples of what I should be doing. That kind of thing. Pick a different type of material. This material is not all that great as far as flexibility goes to be doing something that thin. Yada yada yada. There's all kinds of different ways that you can go about doing it better. Or doing it more successfully, I should say. Alright. Or I could have just deleted the video as soon as it broke, and that way I wouldn't show you that I failed. Let's see, what are we gonna do here? Where is it? I'm looking for an abrader. Yeah, from here you know what's gonna happen. I don't need to finish this out completely. What was the original? Well, whatever the original was, let's see what these are. Inch and 5/8. I think the original flake was 3 and something. This is a little bit shorter, inch and 9/16. So I'd have to lose like a 16th off of this. I would lose it off the bottom and then trim the other one. I'll have about the same thickness once I trim everything. And it's just a matter of running some flakes across the thick part here to match the thinness of this one. You know how I was going to go from this point on. This is not a big deal. The big deal would have been to preserve the whole thing. But, oh well. Not this time. Okay? Alrighty. That's it.